Tonight on KVR News, vandalism on campus.
Students thought on campus security.
Austin votes on graffiti park demolition.
You're watching KVR News, your leader for live local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to KVR News for Monday, February 5th. I'm Bria Bolden.
And I'm Ramirez. Thank you for joining us on our first show of the semester.
A UT professor pled guilty to domestic abuse charges. Professor Richard Morset says he strangled his girlfriend until she saw stars, according to the Austin American-Statesman investigation. Morset continues to teach at the University of Texas despite the school's prohibiting domestic violence. University spokesman J.B. Bird said via email, the review found no relation between how the professor acted in his situation and how he acted on campus, and as a result, he was allowed to continue his teaching and lab activities.
Professor Morissette has also been accused of another violent incident with his girlfriend, sending her to the hospital, and he also ignored a court order to stay away from her. During August 2016, Morissette was on paid administrative leave for 18 days when the University of Texas got word about these charges. Our reporter Emma Denard talked to UT students about Professor Morissette and how the university should proceed with these charges.
And I personally think that he shouldn't be on the payroll. He shouldn't be employed here anymore because as a girl, personally, I feel like it puts everybody at risk.
I think that when you're a university professor or someone in like the private setting or workplace, especially a university professor, you're supposed to be held to a higher standard, just in general. And so I just think that as a student, like you look up to professors and these people in these careers like as role models, right? And so I don't think that it's not just a matter of him teaching or not. He just doesn't. Like those charges being true, he wouldn't seem like a good role model.
Officers discovered the UT Pharmacy building and surrounding area vandalized with graffiti this morning. The words, "UT harbors abusers," were spray painted on the left side of the door, and the sidewalk near the building said, "Watch your back, Richard," with what looks like a hammer and sickle. The message appears to be in response to the continued employment of Richard Morissette. Maintenance crew began cleaning the graffiti at just before 6 a.m. this morning. Vandalism also appeared near Burdine Hall. This graffiti said, "Protect students, protect women," and Morissette, "Get out or else," with the hammer and sickle again. It is not clear who did the vandalization. A student accused of sexual assault is suing UT. His hearing is next week. The identity of the student remains unnamed. The hearing will decide if he should be punished with a potential 2-year suspension. He is being accused of assaulting a female student at a party in April last year. The student is being represented by Brian Rourke. Rourke represented another male student accused of sexual assault in a lawsuit against President Finvest, which was settled last November. The lawsuit is requesting the hearing be stopped with damages awarded to the student.
Many students have noticed an increase in UT safety text message alerts regarding aggravated robberies in several locations across West Campus this semester, including a burglary at the University United Methodist Church, robberies at 3 Subway restaurants, as well as other locations near campus. We reached out to a UT public safety official when asked if there has been an increase in crime in West Campus this semester compared to last. They opted not to answer due to lack of records at the time of our questioning. They did want to advise students who live in the outskirts of campus to always be aware of the surroundings and to never walk alone at night. UT is currently on the hunt for potential developers to build and operate a new basketball arena and training facility. The facility will be on campus as is anticipated to be a state-of-the-art venue that will also host concert and other events. The new arena will be replacing the 40-year-old Frank Irwin Center, which will be turned into an expansion of the Dell Medical School. According to President Fenves, the new arena will be more accessible to students and employees than the previous one. The new arena will either be in the area by the parking lot to the south of the Mike Myers Stadium or the area by the Recreational Sports Center and School of Social Work. An iconic landmark in the city of Austin is soon to be demolished, and a unanimous vote of 8-0 was approved for the demolition of the beloved attraction and art gallery, Graffiti Park. The construction of the Graffiti Park will commence in June after photographic documentation of current artwork is recorded. Don't fret, Austin's graffiti park isn't gone forever. Hope Outdoor Gallery plans on relocating and expanding a new location in Carson Creek Ranch to open in 2018. That'll offer more wall space, more parking, and art lessons.
Austin City Council voted Thursday in favor of boycotting any construction company that helps build the proposed border wall. 4 companies have been chosen to take part in the construction. Texas-based Sterling Construction is one of the companies already chosen. In the past, Sterling received multiple contracts from Austin for work on roads and sewers. The president of Austin's chapter of General Contractors, Phil Thoden, says the issue is more about politics, but the boycott could hurt Austin find contractors. Mayor Steve Adler supported the boycott, saying that this is not how we treat our friends.
The Major League Soccer team Columbia crew is searching for the ideal spot to develop a new stadium here in Austin. Eyes are on set on the Roy Guerrero, Colorado Metropolitan Park. A group of protesters banded together to oppose the possible construction of the 20,000-seat stadium, with concerns on the rise that these East Austin residents stated they were worried that the traffic and environmental factors would be dangerous. Although some are excited to see a professional team in Austin, other residents feel it is best to keep the park as it is for the children who use it in the community.
A 6-year-old became the first Texan to have medical cannabis delivered to him legally. 2 years ago, Republican Governor Greg Abbott signed a law legalizing the sale of certain cannabis oil to Texans with intractable epilepsy. Intractable epilepsy is when other treatments do not work for the patient. This law allows for the sale of cannabis with low levels of THC and high levels of cannabidiol, which treats epilepsy and other medical conditions. About 160,000 Texans have intractable epilepsy, and fewer than 20 doctors are currently registered to prescribe CBD oil.
A recent report by the Anti-Defamation League shows white supremacists reaching out to college students at an increased rate to gain new followers. Universities in California, Washington, D.C., and Texas are the main targets, with students recording a high number of racial propaganda on their campuses. The ADL says racist groups are competing with each other for attention and that more young people are getting involved with these hate groups.
Uber went to court amid allegations by Waymo, a subsidiary of Google. A former employee is accused of stealing secrets about its self-driving technology and brought them to Uber. The former employee co-founded a startup called Otto that focused on self-driving trucks. Uber acquired Otto in August 2016 and, according to Waymo, obtained the trade secrets for Uber's own self-driving efforts. A win for Waymo could lead to an industry overhaul of hiring practices and ethics. We'll be right back with more news. Stay tuned.
Flu season is upon us.
And UT offers help to its students.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Students may find themselves in dire need of resources when the unexpected happens. UT's Office of the Dean of Students has several resources to help.
Students across West Campus are on edge lately in the wake of the University House unethically terminating student leases. While UT does offer legal services to students if they choose to use them, that can be a long process. In the interim, students do have access to resources right on campus in the Student Services Building. Kelly Susi is the Director of Student Emergency Services.
We provide a lot of different services that students probably aren't familiar with, but one of the main ones would be our Student Emergency Fund that students can apply and actually receive up to $300, and they don't have to pay that back. It is a part of a financial aid package, and so we would work with financial aid to provide that service.
Other than the finance aspect of it, which Student Emergency Services can help with, they've also recently launched a food pantry for students who aren't quite sure where their next meal will come from.
We're actually opening a food pantry, and so if having trouble with getting food, we can definitely do that. We actually take walk-ins from 8 to 5 in our main office, but you can also email us at studentemergency@austin.utexas.edu, and then you can also give us a call at our main line.
Kelly says that the food bank is always looking for more donations. David Rubin, KVR News.
More info about the Office of Student Emergency Services, as well as how you can donate to their food pantry, can be found on the University of Texas website.
UT hosted Texas Energy Week for the 8th consecutive year. Texas Energy Week is a conference that provides a platform for energy experts to debate topical energy issues, the next generation of nuclear power, the integration of renewable energy into electric grid, and much more. Not only was the Texas Energy Week an informational resource for students, but it provided a space for interested students to network with professionals within the energy field.
I would say compared to previous years, I've been doing it for 3 years, I was very pleased with our program and student turnout this year. There were several competing events on campus, mostly energy related this week. But in spite of that, I think that our portion of Energy Week had great turnout and student participation.
Well, there are obviously new issues going on in the energy industry every year. I mean, right now you obviously have, horizontal drilling and fracking, but also there's a lot of new developments in renewable energy resources, and it's really just finding the most efficient way to bring energy to our, states and cities.
2 Amtrak employees have been killed in a train collision which occurred in South Carolina Sunday. The passenger train traveled onto the wrong track when it slammed into a stationary freight train, causing thousands of gallons of fuel to spill. The county coroner confirmed the deaths of 2 train conductors, Michael Kempf and conductor Michael Sella. The crash injured at least 116 people. This is Amtrak's 3rd high-profile crash in less than 7 weeks. Though the cause of the crash is still unknown, the National Transportation Safety Board Chairman Robert Sumwalt ruled out foul play and reported that a switch had been thrown and padlocked. We will keep you updated as the story develops.
China, amongst other countries, is criticizing the United States' nuclear weapons policy proposed this month, saying it resembles that of the Cold War. The Pentagon released the Nuclear Posture Review detailing the country's stance on its current weapons arsenal and how it might soon change. According to the document, the U.S. military believes its weapons are too big to be used and should develop smaller, weaker weapons that are better suited as a deterrent. China's defense ministry said that the United States should follow the trend of stabilization instead of going against it. Considering it has the largest nuclear arsenal, the policy also proposes expansion of land, air, and submarine missiles, all of which began to be modernized under President Obama. America's new defense strategy was inspired by the growing threat coming from countries like Russia and China. According to the strategy announced last month, China said in the past they are now committed in not using nuclear weapons first. Additionally, Russia and Iranian officials have expressed disappointment and distrust in the country's new plan.
The student body president at Texas State University apologized after several racist Instagram posts. At least 2 photos were discovered by the student newspaper, the University Star, in which Connor Clegg is seen taking selfies with Asian people with the caption, "Got him again." He posted the offensive content in 2014 and 2017. In an interview with the University Star, Clegg stated that the posts were made before his attendance at Texas State. Just recently, Clegg criticized the newspaper for allowing an article that he believed was racist towards white people. Connor Clegg's Instagram account has been deactivated.
The U.S. Geological Survey reported a 6.1 magnitude earthquake off the east coast of Taiwan Sunday night. Taiwan's Central News Agency reports the island's monitoring agency registered 7 tremors with the strongest record at magnitude 5.8. The quake registered at an intensity level of 5 on a 7-point scale along the northeast coast. Sunday's quake was a shallow one, registering at a depth of only 7.8 kilometers, or approximately 5 miles. Though shallow quakes tend to cause more damage than deeper ones, there are no reports of any serious injuries or any damage at this time.
The Center for Disease Control announced this year's flu season is the worst in nearly a decade. University Health Services reported increasing numbers of students coming in with flu symptoms, with 7 students with the flu visiting UHS on the first week of the year, growing to 133 by the last week. Nursing Director of University Health Services, Kathy Mosteller, gives words of advice to our students about flu prevention and recovery.
Well,
the best 3 ways for students to prevent the flu is 1, have a flu shot every year. This year we're hearing a lot in the news about the flu shot being less effective. than previous years, but we are also hearing that those that get the flu, that had the flu shot, have a lighter case of the flu for the most part. The other thing is stay away from sick people. If you know your roommate's sick, you know your sorority, there's half the people have the flu, don't go to that event. And then the other is to wash your hands frequently. And because we're getting the virus into our mouths from our hands or from secretions in the air. And so one way is to help keep your hands clean. But as far as treating it yourself, rest, fluids, Advil, acetaminophen, Tylenol if you're running a fever, taking over-the-counter medications for your symptoms, but rest and time will treat the flu.
Well, with the high flu rates here in Austin, students definitely need to be cautious right now.
I know the flu and the weather are taking no prisoners this year. All right, well, let's see what Rolando has for us in the Weather Center. Rolando?
Thanks, Bria and Marco. Will you need your rain boots or your Birkenstocks? Will you pack your mittens or maybe your sunglasses? Stay tuned to see what's coming up in Austin weather.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
February is finally here to bring in cool temperatures and the occasional shower. This past weekend, we had cool, brisk weather with temperatures ranging from the high 50s to the low 40s. The weather for today was in the low 50s as we get ready for some late winter showers hitting us tomorrow with a chance of rain at 60% with a high of around 60. So don't forget those umbrellas. On Wednesday, the sky will be cloudy and temperatures will drop to a low of 37 and a high of 55. Make sure you pack your hoodies, and while you're at it, make sure they're burnt orange. Thursday will bring a slightly warmer day with a high of 64 and a low of 45. To finish up the week and to start off the weekend, Friday brings a high of 68 and a low of 54. Perfect weather for a night out with friends. Saturday brings in a high of 66 and a low of 43 with a chance of rain being 50%. So make plans to stay indoor, Longhorns. And finally, we end the week with a chance of precipitation at 40% with highs in the mid-50s and lows in the 40s. Live from the Weather Center, I'm Rolando Hernandez. Back to you, Bria and Marco.
Thanks, Rolando. We'll be right back with sports.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. It's time to talk Longhorn sports.
We're back here on KVR News. It was a big weekend for Longhorn sports. Here we are going over the sports. The crowd was fired up for Saturday's game. Trey Young misses and Mo Bamba gets the rebound. Long pass to Roach and Roach goes down with the layup right in. Matt Coleman hits a jumper and sink. Pumps up the sellout crowd. Trey Young dribbles in and hits the floater and in. Trey Young once again, alley-oop to McNeese. Roach once again gets to the rim with another layup. Big fan of the layups. Trey Young misses and Roach gets the rebound. Setting up and looking down the court. There's a long pass to Davis who throws up the alley-oop to Bamba. And boom, which caps off UT's 20-4 run to end the game. Two standout freshmen congratulate each other after the game as Texas beats the Sooners 79-74.
Thanks, Madison. Now let's head over to Grace Ann to see what's new in Hollywood. Grace Ann?
Thanks, Bria. Coming up, let's talk Justin Timberlake's halftime show and the death of the Ugly Star. We'll be right back with your latest in entertainment news.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. Justin Timberlake's Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show gave the audience a mini concert of Justin's top hits, Sexy Back, Cry Me a River, Suit and Tie, My Love, and Mirrors. The performance incorporated a live band, background dancers, and multiple stage sets. Besides having audio problems, Justin's choreography proved that the 37-year-old is just as smooth as he was in his teens. The surprise of the night came when a large screen projected the late singer Prince singing his classic I Would Die For You, while Justin played the piano. Leading up to the finale, several performers serenaded the field with personal mirrors reflecting back towards Justin. Former Glee actor Mark Saling was found dead Thursday near a riverbend in Los Angeles neighborhood. According to Us Weekly, the cause of the 35-year-old's death is asphyxia by hanging, and the manner of death is suicide. Saling was facing 4 to 7 years in jail after pleading guilty to the possession of child pornography. The actor was set to be sentenced the first week of March. Uma Thurman joined the hashtag #movement by revealing that she was sexually abused by Harvey Weinstein. Thurman also shared about her relationship with director Quentin Tarantino after a stunt incident that injured Thurman, almost killing her in the process. While filming for the movie Pulp Fiction, the first encounter with Weinstein was in a steam room. The second encounter was what Thurman called the attack, where Weinstein pushed Thurman down on a bed and tried to expose himself on top of her. In the case with Tarantino, while filming Kill Bill, Thurman stated a dangerous stunt act left her with damaged knees and a concussion that continues to affect her today. After a large fight with Tarantino regarding the prevention of the accident, Thurman threatened to sue Miramax. She received the recording of the incident 15 years later. Thurman and Tarantino have not worked together since the filming of Kill Bill, Volume 2, in 2004.
Thanks, Grace Ann, and thank you for tuning in.
Make sure to follow us for news updates throughout the break. You can follow us on Twitter at KVR News and like us on Facebook. I'm Marco Ramirez.
And I'm Bria Bolden. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great week.
Yep.